first time talking to you since you guys picked Reedy Williams. Can you kind of outline what you saw in him, why you guys made that selection?
A good length, ball skills, really talented. So really, we're just trying to get him acclimated to our league, and just improve on some things that we think he needs to help us win some games this fall.
What are the kind of areas of focus for you now when it comes to that?
We just have a lot of variations of coverages. So he was mainly like a press corner. So really, just teaching him how to play off technique, which some of the things that Denzel had to go through last year. So really, just teaching him all the different variations of coverages and the techniques that goes with it.
Do you expect to play more off than last year?
I think it'll be a little bit of both. Um, I know we play zone, we'll play man or pressure packages. Sometimes we're playing off. So again, that's a part of him just understanding all the different techniques within the different coverages that we have.
You mentioned that Denzel had to go through a lot of it last year. Is he able to help him a little bit? And does that help maybe get Greedy through that, knowing that Denzel's gone through the same thing?
Oh, no question, no question. They have their little private conversations, which I think is healthy. So I think that'll be an asset for Greedy.
Coach, the AFC North has two quarterbacks that like to extend plays, Pittsburgh and Baltimore. What's the challenges with those two, where Lamar is more likely to run and Ben's more likely to send the play for a pass? What does that look like for the defensive backs? How do you deal with those two different quarterbacks who like to extend the play?
Just have to identify that on tape and just coach them throughout the week. So it's not that difficult in terms of just what the offense is trying to do, but just getting these guys to understand when these things happen, this is what we need to do to try to keep those gains, big gains, to a minimum.
What's the next step for Denzel Ward?
Just keep getting better. I don't really get into all the other stuff that a lot of people get into. My whole focus is helping him improve and just getting better every day.
He said last week when he talked to us that he's changing his mentality about tackling, avoiding the high hits
Right.
to protect himself. Is that something you guys have talked a lot about? Is that encouraging to hear him kind of adopt that mindset? How do you view that?
I made a cut up for him from last season, all the situations, run game and pass game, from a tackling standpoint. So he understands in certain situations there's certain techniques that he needs to use just to be able to protect himself. So I think he has a good understanding, kind of going through that last year. So
Is the focus so much in the NFL, not just on Denzel or your guys, so much the game is played in space now? Has it become even tougher for cornerbacks as far as the tackling and learning to tackle, because there is so much emphasis on coverage as opposed to maybe 10 or 15 years ago? If you were coaching the same guys, tackling would be so much more important. How is that for a coach as far as adjusting?
yeah,
to
space
that?
tackling, I think there's always what situation are you in, whether it's a space tackle, whether you're in the core. So the techniques are different in terms of the situation that may present itself from a tackling standpoint.
Are you having to, again, when you hear a player, an NFL player, I think from the outside perspective, here's that he has to change how he tackles. The average person's probably thinking, this guy made it to the NFL doing this.
Right.
But again, there's so much on coverage. Do you think some of these guys don't get enough work on that part of it as they're coming up to the league?
Yeah, I'm probably not going to speak on that piece of it, but I will speak on in our league. You got better athletes. The game is faster, so obviously some things need to get adjusted from a tackling standpoint for sure.
And what's the challenge in that when you don't tackle? I mean, you know what I'm saying? You guys don't tackle out here for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, you got to use the preseason games, and you can still kind of talk through the techniques even when you're not taking guys to the ground. But again, the real test comes when we have live practices during training camp and then the preseason games to get guys ready for the regular season.
I've had coaches say that if a kid can't tackle in college, he's not going to be able to tackle in the National Football League. Just curious, how, to Tom's question, how much teaching can you realistically do with a player that maybe wasn't a great tackler in college, but at this level, I mean, that is obviously something he's going to have to do.
Well, I totally disagree with that. I think you can teach guys to tackle. And if a guy won't tackle or can't tackle, then he won't be in this league very long. So I think it's definitely something you can teach and continue to build confidence that if a guy had that reputation in college, I think you can change that narrative in the NFL
There's a
personally.
lot of it too, not just obviously you talk about want to. We coaches always talk about want to, but as far as taking proper angles,
That's right.
when you break down in space, because that seems breaking down in space seems to be a big issue when you get to this league, because what worked in college, because they're such great athletes, sometimes to your point earlier, against really superior athletes is difficult. So is the angling and that kind of stuff and knowing when to break down?
No question, like I mentioned before, just like with Denzel, just making a cut up for him and just watching all the different situations he was put in and actually watching the same tape with Greedy. And says, okay, Greedy, in this league, they can force corners to tackle anytime they want, from a run game standpoint. So it's just making sure they understand these situations because it's going to happen. So as long as they understand those situations, that's when they can utilize the technique from a tackling standpoint once they, confronted with that.
Sorry. Talking to Greedy, one of Greedy's defensive coordinator at LSU said early in his, there's only 2 seasons, but early on he was tackling fine.
Right.
And then later, like the last half of last season, dropped off a little bit. How
Right.
do you kind of make sure that he's a willing tackler for you? Like you
Right.
just said, his teams can make him have to tackle.
Yeah, you just coach, and before long, he'll be put in those situations, and we'll be able to evaluate when those situations occur. I really don't go back and look at what he did in college. I kind of focus on where he's at today and how we can help him be a good tackler in this league.
Do you have confidence that he can do it? Though?
Because, if you go back and look at his college tape, he's shown he can. So that's not really a concern of mine, to be honest with you.
Coach, you talk about a lot of different coverages. How do you balance what you feel is the right call and the right coverage versus what Denzel, Greedy, and some of the other players might be best at? How do you balance those two things?
You got to talk to Coach Wilkes about that. That's kind of his world in terms of calling the defenses. So, but again, it doesn't matter to me. Whatever he calls, our guys got to be able to execute from a coverage standpoint and a technique standpoint. So that's just something. It's a National Football League. These guys are pros, so they got to do their jobs.
Denzel said last week that, as much as everybody kept talking to him about tackling and his technique, that it really took when he would hit a bigger player and realize, hey, I'm not as big as these guys anymore. Is it almost one of those, maybe that has to happen to Greedy maybe a little bit, maybe even in the preseason, where once he gets hit, that sends more of a message than anything you guys can tell him?
Experience is a good thing, right? So again, once he gets confronted with those situations, it's obviously gonna, we'll be able to help him from a coaching standpoint, but then again, he'll be able to help himself from an experience standpoint too.
How hard is it to get guys to keep their head up in tackles? Because the natural tendency, I think, is almost like diving into water. You're going low.
Right.
Lead with your head.
Yeah.
How do coaches at this level, to Nate's point, when you've tackled a certain way from Pop Warner on the way up, and all of a sudden, now at this level, you're trying to change it. Is that difficult?
Right. Yeah, to me, it's just coaching and it's techniques and it's drill work. So that's all we can control is to coach it and drill it. And then when they get into those live situations, we'll be able to evaluate it and then continue to move on from it.
Terrence Mitchell got off to such a hot start last year, and then the broken wrist happened. What are your expectations for him this year? Do you see him kind of have that potential to return to that level for you?
No question. Again, it's just keep getting better. I know I'm sound like a scratch record, but my whole deal is taking one day at a time and just keep improving these guys. We're in May right now, so come August and come the preseason games, getting ready. So right now it's all about just trying to evaluate every day and getting everybody better.
How much have you seen from Greedy through this OTA's process and really rookie minicamp too on where he might fit into this defense when we get to July and August?
Just improvement. I know when, Jarvis and Odell comes out and, Baker, who's an excellent quarterback, I think once we start getting into the meat and potatoes of everything, we'll be able to know more. But I'm happy with his progress right now in terms of understanding and learning and trying to execute the techniques that he needs to perfect.
With a guy like Jermaine Whitehead, who seems like he can do a lot, do you deal with him a lot, or is he just safeties, or is there crossover?
No, there's crossover. There's definitely crossover. So he's a pro. He's very smart. He has a high IQ. Coach Witt does a great job with him. So he's really a pleasure to be around and a pleasure to coach.
Is he kind of like maybe a guy that, like, the media doesn't talk about a lot, but maybe he's a little off the radar to us, but you guys think highly of him.
Right.
Is that the way you look at him?
At this stage of it, again, we got a long way to go. So in terms of where we are today, he's done some good things. So we just got to continue to get better and continue to evaluate him as we get ready for the season.